Today we're going to learn how to place numbers on a number line and find their opposites. Let's look at a joke. Today at the bank an old lady asked me to check her balance, so I pushed her over. Me when my BFS says she can't hang out at all this weekend. I have no one. So in class we used the vocabulary preview to analyze and look at all the vocabulary from this chapter. Today we're going to focus primarily on integers, a set of whole numbers and their opposites, negative numbers, numbers less than 0, and also positive numbers, all numbers greater than 0. Ju kept track of the weekly low temperatures for several weeks. The table shows the low and temperatures for each week. Graph the temperature from week 3 and its opposite on the number line. What do the numbers represent? So here we're given a table and we're asked to plot week 3 on our vertical number line. Vertical means up and down. Remember, negative 4 is a negative number, and it's a number less than 0. So minus 4 goes here. Now we have to plot its opposite on the number line. The opposite of minus 4 is a positive 4. Remember, a positive number is all numbers greater than 0. So what does the numbers represent? Minus 4 represents a temperature of 4 degrees below 0, while positive 4 represents a temperature 4 degrees above 0. The next question says, the value for week 5 is the opposite of the opposite from week 1. What was the low temperature in week 5? Well, first we have to understand what opposite means. An opposite, again, is a number on the other side of a number line. So if we had 1, therefore we'd have minus 1. So the opposite of week 1 would be 1 degrees. But since we're looking for the opposite of the opposite, we would go from 1 back to minus 1. So the low temperature for week 5 was minus 1. Number 2, we want to write an integer for each of the following. Remember, an integer is a set of all whole numbers and their opposites. A gain of 20 yards. Notice how I have gain underlined. Gain is a word that means positive or plus. And remember, a positive number represents all numbers greater than 0. So if I was going to write this as an integer, I would write this as plus 20. Another way to write this would be just 20. Let's try another one. Spending 10,000 won. Write an integer for the following. Remember, an integer is a set of all whole numbers and their opposites. So an integer to represent 10,000, spending 10,000 won, notice how I underlined spending. Spending is a way to represent minus or negative. So we have negative 10,000. What would be the opposite of minus 10,000? Remember, opposite means a number on the other side of a number line. So if we're at minus 10,000, then we have 10,000. Let's go to number 4. Write an integer for the following. 100 meters below sea level. See how I underline below. And if I circle below, and I look at the picture here, I can see that's below sea level. It's below the water. It's under the water. So under minus 100. What's the opposite of minus 100? 100. Number 5. Graph each integer and its opposite on a number line. Remember, an integer is the set of all whole numbers and their opposites. So, number 5, we have to mark minus 8. And the opposite of minus 8 is positive 8. Let's do number 6. Going to do circles here to represent our 5, and then minus 5 would be its opposite. Number 7, minus 10, and I'll make stars for our squares for that. And the opposite of minus 10 is simply just 10. This is a horizontal number line. A good way to remember the difference between vertical number lines and horizontal number lines is that horizontal number lines go across the horizon. Horizon, horizontal. Let's compare the two. Vertical, horizontal. You see the difference? Today you learned how to place numbers on a number line and find their opposites. Thanks for tuning in.